What's up, everybody? My name's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to Retro Flashforward, showcasing gaming's roots in the current generation. Yeah, we got another one of these. I am really happy that we've had a lot of opportunity for this show lately. There's been a lot of retro-inspired stuff coming out. Really digging that. So what are we taking a look at today? Well, this is Woah Dave, and we're playing it on the PC, but it's come out in a whole bunch of different places, or will be, I guess. So let's just dive right into this thing here, and I'll sort of talk as we go, because this is a fairly straightforward thing. So this is a game that came out, again, like a lot of the titles in this show, just kind of appeared on Steam the other day, and it is by a developer called Choice Provisions, who you may or may not have heard of. If you haven't heard of them, chances are you probably have heard of their predecessor, which is Gaijin Games, also known as the developers of the Bit Trip series. Bit Trip series is a series of different sort of arcade Twitch-style challenge games that came out originally for WiiWare, of all things, if you can believe that. And they've since put them out on a whole bunch of different platforms, and most of them are really good. I actually am a big fan of the Bit Trip series. I think it's a pretty awesome series of titles. And earlier this year, the developers Gaijin Games decided to rebrand themselves as Choice Provisions. And they also have a little sub-label set up called Mini Visions, which is, I guess, who put this out. And it looks like it's a little sub-label dedicated to tinier titles that I guess are either little side projects the developers worked on, or that maybe came out of game jams or something, who knows. And this is the first thing they've put out. And, well, if you're, I decided to jump right into this to see if any of you could spot the similarities to what this is. This kind of looks a lot like, well, the original Mario Brothers, doesn't it? Not Super Mario Brothers, the really famous one. Mario Brothers is actually the game that predated that, and it was not really a platformer at all. It was an interesting kind of little competitive score attack, sort of single level layout, puzzle, I guess puzzle game, challenge, reflex challenge game, things like that. This is very much that. This was very inspired by it through and through. That much is obvious. They don't ever really explicitly state that, but I think that it's pretty obvious that they wear that on their sleeve. And it's not just a straight-up clone of Mario Brothers. There are some interesting twists in it. So, this is actually out on a bunch of different platforms. It's out on Steam right now for PC and Mac and Linux, if you're into that kind of thing. It's also out on the 3DS. It's coming to the PS4 and the Vita as well. But here's the kicker, and a lot of PC gamers are going to love this. This game got its start on iOS. Yeah, it's also supposed to be, according to their site, it's supposed to be out on Android right now, but I checked Google Play before I came in here, and it is not there, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But yep, this is a port of a mobile game, which is something we PC people just love, because what does that usually mean if you're a PC player? It usually means you're getting a lousy port of a game designed for touchscreens, and you're paying way more for it than the mobile platforms do, for no other reason that the developers think they can get away with ripping PC people off like that. So what is this in that context? Well, it is that and it isn't. I'm going to give credit where credit's due here. So, this is a game that I find it kind of amusing that this started as a mobile game, because this is a game, I mean, you saw when I booted it up there, it said, hey, Dave really thinks you should play with a controller. And also, to their credit, this game officially supports both the Xbox 360 controller and the PS4's DualShock 4. Which very few games actually support that natively, so I'm going to give wicked props for that, because Sony doesn't even officially support people using that on the PC. But a lot of people have been, because it's a really nice controller, so good on them for that. But that's the thing, this is a game that's clearly well-fitted and arguably designed around a controller, and yet it started as a mobile game. Now, I have not touched the mobile version, but I'm guessing that it is probably one of those mobile games that uses, like, you know, where they overlay controller buttons on the screen, and you're basically, it tries to set it up so that you're like playing with a virtual controller on a touchscreen, which anyone who's ever done that knows that nobody can do that. Like, it's horrible. trying to play with those virtual joysticks. I have never played a mobile game that does it well, and I don't even know if it's really possible to do that exceptionally well. But that's where this came out. So, the port, I mean, it's a simple 2D pixel art, super retro-inspired game, so I mean, as a PC game, it's fine. There's basically no options for it, but you don't really need any. There's not much to this, and that's fine. How is it on pricing? Pricing is... It's weird, because at first blush, it looks like a ripoff. This game's normal retail price on PC is listed as $5. On the App Store, it's 99 cents. So my instant reaction was to go, what an insulting ripoff. But I'm curious if they're being a little cheeky with that or not, because this game just came out, I think maybe a week ago, if that. And when I bought it at launch, I paid, I think, $3 for it, which admittedly is still too much, but I didn't actually realize this was a mobile port at the time. And as of time of recording, there's a Steam sale going on, and this game, despite being brand new, is 80% off, and it's $1. So I wonder if this game is ever really going to be sold for $5, or if it's just always going to be on some weird form of discount. That's the kind of weird, cheeky, nudge, wink thing that choice provisions would do. So I wonder if that's what's going to happen. I hope so, because I don't think this is worth $5 at all. I think it's worth $1 or $1 or $2 to kill some time, but yeah. Anyway. So enough ranting about that. So what is this? Well, it plays a lot like Mario Brothers. The idea is supposed to be is you play this character named Dave, who is supposed to be, I mean, there's no real story to this. The story's all tongue-in-cheek, but you're supposed to be fending off an alien invasion. These aliens are dropping eggs from the sky, and you're supposed to take out the aliens and collect the pennies they drop because, you know, secret Illuminati government conspiracy, man. All our copper, they're actually getting it from harvesting aliens, man, and that's where they're making our pennies from. Illuminati, lolly lule lo, etc. So, oh geez. So, your idea is to take out... well, ideally what you want to do is to take out the eggs of these aliens before they hatch, because they don't become sort of active enemies until they hatch. But you see, the eggs are dropping from the sky, as are these skulls. So the skulls are really what you want to use, if at all possible, to take them out, because the skulls, when thrown, can take out multiple targets at once. So if there's multiple eggs in their path, it will take multiple ones out. It will also take out multiple enemies. However, what you can do is, while you cannot destroy eggs with other eggs, you can destroy enemies with eggs. But it doesn't pop the egg. So it's sort of a desperate workaround kind of thing. You really want to use a skull whenever possible. But the skulls come with their own risks, as you can see. The skulls, over time, will start to blink, and they will explode. If you're holding one when it explodes, you die. If you're standing near it when it blows up, you die. Similarly, the eggs are on a timer to when they will hatch into enemies, but... they don't have any kind of area of effect damage. When the eggs pop, they just turn into an enemy. So if you're not touching it when it blows up, you're okay. So that's kind of the idea here. When you take them out, they drop pennies. You want to try to collect the pennies because that's your score, as you can see there in the upper left. And you're in a level with lava because I don't know why. And as you can see, the bottom is retracting there. Well, you missed it, but here, we'll see it again. So the bottom is retracting. If any enemies get free and get to the bottom, as you've seen, they will evolve. So the first time they hit the bottom, they will sort of get burnt. They'll fly back up to the top and they'll be angry, so they'll be really, really fast. If they get down again, they turn into another type, etc., etc. And eventually, there are also flying enemies, which are much trickier because they will try to hone on to you, whereas these guys are just kind of dumb and just kind of walk lemming style into the lava below. So, the flying enemies will try to get towards you and kind of wreck your day. And the game gets extremely crazy, extremely fast. What was different between this and the original Mario Brothers is Mario Brothers was very, very slow-paced. It was a skill-based game, make no doubt about it, but it was very, very slow-paced. The characters moved relatively slow, the enemies and the coins moved slow. It was designed to be played over a long period of time. This is a mobile game. Mobile games are designed to be quick little time wasters, so they are designed to move quick. The idea behind a mobile game is that you're not supposed to have a super long play session. So this game ramps up wicked fast, as you've been seeing here in my previous runs. You'll be lucky to get a couple of minutes out of an average run, and the things will ramp up really quick. Now, the advantage of that, of course, is more enemies on the screen more quickly equals more opportunities to get more points more quickly. That's always a good thing. But yeah, it gets really tough really quick. This is a game designed to be played either in short bursts, or it's designed to be played numerous times over in short sessions. That's the way most mobile games are built. And but the funny thing about this is there can be some real challenge in this. Like, for example, there's a higher difficulty level in this called Bonkers. You have to collect $1.50 in one game in order to unlock it. Well, as you can see here, I've been playing this game. I have maybe an hour and a half into this, and as you can see, my high score is 46 cents. So they've set a pretty high bar in terms of pulling off that kind of thing with this. So that's where they're trying to build longevity into it. I'm sure there's a few people who will either be extremely good at this and hit it quickly, or who will get that devoted to it, but probably not that many. There is also there are online leaderboards in this, which I'll give them credit for. So if you can get a couple of friends to spend a few bucks on this, you can play this with against those people and try to best their scores. I mean, score is the whole point of this thing. It's not really to survive to get to the later levels and stuff. It's really just to get it's a greed game. You're trying to get as much points and score as you possibly can, right? That's really the idea behind it. And it's tough. It's really, really tough if you want to do that. The concept behind this is very, very easy to pick up, but it's a bloody hard game, which is kind of neat. There is also a 2-player mode in it, which, much like the original Mario Brothers, is kind of like a competitive co-op mode. You're looking to kill the enemies, but you can also steal coins from each other. And your objective is to try to end the mode with as many coins as possible. So that's kind of interesting. It is local only. I've messed around with it a little bit, but I don't have a second player here right now, so I can't really show it to you, but that's the idea. There is no online play. It's just a local co-op mode. So it's neat that it's there, but I don't think it's something a lot of people are probably going to end up seeing. And that's really it. I mean, if you're in... Oh, yeah, and you also have this, which, boy, doesn't that look familiar if you're familiar with Mario Brothers, eh? Yeah. So that's called the Woah block, which is the equivalent of the POW block from Mario Brothers, which just destroys everything on the screen and turns it all into coins. It is a quick way to get some instant money, but really the point of it is it's a save your ass item. It's supposed to be when there's just too much going on the screen and things have just gotten too chaotic and you're like, oh god, I need, save me. That's supposed to be what it's for. But you're seeing the basics of it here. If you're familiar with Mario Brothers from back in the day, which some of you may be, some of you may not be, this is that faster. That's really all it is. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. I think this is probably worth getting if you can get it for $1, maybe $2. I fully agree with the people who say that selling a PC port of a mobile game for a higher price than the mobile version is not really fair to PC players. I really do wonder if we're ever going to see this game... Oh, hey, I set a new high score. I do actually wonder if we're ever going to see this game actually sold for $5 or not. At $5, I would say this is an absolute ripoff. Do not buy it for $5. But if you can get it, yeah, for $1, $2, maybe even $3 if you're into this kind of thing, then sure, why not? It's a fun little bit of time. But it is a one-trick pony. It does one thing. And it does take, I haven't seen a modern twist on the Mario Brothers formula, I don't know if ever, to be honest with you. Part of that's because it's not necessarily something a lot of people were asking for, but it's neat to see that. I think it's neat here, and what they have done to sort of mix the rules up and make it a lot more fast-paced, I think is actually cool. I think there's some neat stuff there, but at the same time, is this something I see myself playing on a frequent basis? No, probably not. I'll keep it on my machine because it's tiny. I think it's under 100 megs. So like, I'll keep it on my machine and I'll probably fire it up once in a while, play for a little bit. But yeah, other than that, It's very, very simple. And to be fair, you know, Choice Provisions, they've made a lot of really good stuff in the past, and this is clearly designated as a mini project. This is not the kind of stuff they seem to be doing. The new company doesn't seem to be into just making stuff like this. This was clearly a little side thing, and they were like, hey, we're just going to put this out and whatever. So, yeah, it's cool. It's Mario Brothers for the modern era with some new mechanics and a much faster pace, and that's cool, but it's not worth a lot, and at least the default asking price as listed is asking way too much in my opinion. But if you can get it cheap, and you can, at least at time of recording, yeah, check it out. Maybe you dig it. For $1, I mean, almost everybody can afford to lose $1, right? So, yeah, so that is Woah Dave, developed by Choice Provisions. We are looking at the PC version, which is on Steam and Steam Play, so you can get it for PC, Mac, and Linux with one buy. It's also on the 3DS eShop. It's coming to the PS4 and the Vita. It's also on iOS and supposedly coming to Android at some point, though I don't know when. I can't see playing this on a touchscreen, so definitely a controller's the way to go. But good for what it is, but yeah, it has very limited value, so don't pay too much for it would be my recommendation. My name's been Parallax Abstraction. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing. It does help me out a great deal. And, well, I will see you next time. Take it easy, everybody.